Hello, investors. Today on Stocks to Watch, we're spotlighting Rua Gold, listed on the TSXV as RUA, over the counter in the United States is NZAUF, and its German securities ID is A40QIC. Now, this is a fast-moving explorer, unlocking some of the most prospective gold ground in New Zealand. They have two flagship assets, the Reefton Gold and Gold Antimony Project, and the emerging Glamorgan Project. So Rua Gold is really positioning itself as one of the next breakout exploration stories in a jurisdiction known for producing serious world-class deposits. Joining us is Rua Gold CEO and Director Robert Eckford, who's leading an aggressive, data-driven exploration push as the company moves toward a catalyst-packed 2026. Robert, welcome to the show. Always great to have you on.
Great to be back with you, Ashley.
Yes, and as I mentioned, you now control two major assets, Reefton and Glamorgan, right in the heart of a proven world-class gold belt. So what would you say really gives you a strategic edge over other explorers in that area in New Zealand?
I think the key thing for Rua Gold is that we started picking up these tenements back in 2019. So this is at a time when the geology of New Zealand has always been amazing. That's never been contested. It's got really high-grade gold. It's got operating gold mines right now that have been operating for over 40 years. What's been difficult in the past with New Zealand was it was hard to get permits in a timely manner. And so what sets us apart against other explorers in New Zealand and in the rest of the world is that we were first movers in New Zealand. We started picking up the land there in 2019 while we were private and nimble, and we've accumulated the best land packages in New Zealand that's on offer. And so we've got that under our control. And now the government's shifted and we've got a very permissive legislative enforcement right now where people are getting mining permits in less than 6 months. So we're in the most permissive environment and we've had first grabs at the land there. So it puts Rua in a very enviable position.
Yeah, clearly you had strategic foresight there. You've also made meaningful progress at Reefton this year. What would you say are the biggest technical milestones and discoveries that have really shaped your view of the project's scale and economics? Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Yeah, Reefton is a past producing district in New Zealand. It historically produced 2 million ounces of gold at around 25 grams a ton on average. So really high grade. And it was this orogenic greenstone belt. So these old timers, this is in the 1900s to 1940s. And these guys would go up a hill, find outcropping gold quartz veins and just follow them down as deep as they could. But they could only go so deep back then. And so there's a huge opportunity where the old timers couldn't explore deeper than 500 meters. There's an opportunity there to explore at depth. And we know that the mineralization of these orogenic systems run to the Earth's core. We've got a neighbor that has mineralization to 1,500 meters. So we know these things run deep. The major achievement for this year with Reefton is that we got onto one of these systems and we've started getting really good continuity, and we've put out to the market that we're going to complete our MRE by the end of the year on one of the 9 targets we have in Reefton. And just on that one, we're targeting somewhere in the range of 300,000 to 500,000 ounces. A 43-101 will be out by February next year. And that's just 1/9 of the targets we have in Reefton. So we're sort of showing the world that just the potential of what our land holding offers. But it's not only just that, it's that 300,000 to 500,000 ounces is enough to really justify to the New Zealand government, this is a project that will bring regional benefit to Reefton. And so we can use that fast track process. So we won't just be an explorer, we'll be an explorer taking advantage of 6-month permitting timelines and going through that phase with a small starter mine while we explore the rest of the district.
Yeah, incredibly exciting. I have to imagine that those conversations with the government are paramount and key to success. You've already mentioned a big milestone coming up in early 2026, the 43-101. So let's talk about what investors should be watching for, any other catalysts at Reefton.
Yeah, we've got 3 rigs turning there at the moment, and we're fully permitted to drill there. So we've got a very extensive drill campaign. So despite doing our 43-101, we'll do a cutoff of the data at 31 December, but the drills will continue operating. So with 3 rigs running there consistently, there will be consistent exploration updates. We've got 2 rigs essentially doing the resource expansion on Old Creek, which is where we're focused. It's our gold antimony deposit. The third rig is then moving around Reefton looking for where that second ore body is going to come from. And it's a discovery rig. It's going to have these high-grade gold hits that are known in the region. And so that's the potential blue sky of the Reefton district. So exploration updates are first, 43-101 in February. And we've recently hired a VP of risk called Simon Delander. He's responsible for getting the project permitted. He got the neighbors project permitted. It took him 5 years under the old government. And now with this new permissive government, it should be a 6-month process. But we're looking to get into that fast track process next year. And so that's something investors should be watching for. If Reefton project can get into the fast track list, which is step 1, that means you qualify for the 6-month permitting process. And that would be a huge win for us. We'd be looking to be fully permitted by 2027 on that basis.
Well, very exciting. Let's talk about the Glamorgan Project. You completed phase 2 surface exploration, identified multiple targets there, kicked off drilling. What do those milestones tell you about the project's potential?
Yeah, Glamorgan is amazing. We're talking now the North Island of New Zealand. It's this epithermal zone. It's where all the volcanoes and hot springs of New Zealand are. And we're sitting adjacent to one of Oceana Gold's projects called Wharekirauponga, or WKP. This Oceana Gold is an $8 billion gold producer, and one of their biggest pipeline projects, one of their biggest constructions, is going to kick off in January. WKP, of which we're adjacent to, is 1.5 million ounces of 18 gram a ton material. It's an amazing deposit. Our geologist, Simon Henderson, our COO that lives down in New Zealand, he actually discovered WKP over 10 years ago. And it's moved forward. So we've got the geo that knows the rocks. We've got the land package adjacent, and we've identified an anomaly that looks very identical to WKP, just 3 kilometers north. So the tenements are adjacent. The actual anomalies are 3 kilometers apart, and we think we have another WKP on our hands. We've only done the surface work right now. We've done all the precursors to drilling. So whether it's resistivity mapping, soil sampling, everything that you need to do to have confidence when you drill. We're actually currently waiting for the drill permits to come through. Because WKP is going through that 6-month timeline to get a full construction permit. It's the first major gold mine to go through that process, and it's actually taken 8 months. So the government have said, we'll have this thing permitted by December 18. Your project, who's next to it, we're waiting for the drill permits for. We'll get to your drill permits once we finish fully permitting the mine next door to you guys. So they've got limited resources in New Zealand, so we just have to be patient. But we're really excited because these epithermals are just amazing deposits. I mean, just 10 kilometers south is one of Oceana Gold's operations that's been going for 40 years. It's produced over 10 million ounces. It's elephant country up in the North Island of New Zealand, and we think we've got one by the tail there.
Yeah, I can totally sense that enthusiasm and excitement around this in your voice and in your facial expressions. I can't imagine just how gorgeous it must be there, especially when you so specifically, describe it. When you talk about the volcanoes and you talk about just the landscape, to me just sounds like a place I need to visit sometime. And boy,
Yeah.
what a time to be in the gold business. I mean, let's talk about the current price of gold now. And I understand that your stock has really performed strongly this year. You've hinted there's still more not fully priced in. So what would you say the market is missing right now?
Yeah, I mean, I will just touch on that very great comment you made, Ashley, because it is so beautiful down there. And
Yeah.
some people think of New Zealand and they think, how can you do mining in New Zealand? But it does have that 40-year history of mining. And we are in these 2 mining districts where operating mines are active. And I'll add on top of that, I mean, Rua Gold is very high-grade gold focused. Gold is having a tremendous run. But I've been in gold since it was $1,000 an ounce back in 2014, 15, when everyone's in the doldrums. And one of the things that set all of my experience apart was always looking for high grade. And that's what New Zealand has, and that's what we're chasing. And high grade means underground mining, which means a nice low environmental footprint, which means you're very good custodians from a New Zealand stakeholder perspective. They've always got the environment at the forefront of their mind. It is a beautiful country. And so we commit to the population and the stakeholders there that we are underground focused and we want to come in with the most environmentally light footprint that we can. But yeah, no, gold is having an amazing tear. It's an amazing part of the industry to be in right now. And gold antimony is even better because the antimony byproduct is economically amazing. It's strategically amazing. It's from a financing options. It's amazing. And I think the antimony side of our story is what is most underpriced right now. People are skeptical of these rare earth antimony type minerals sometimes because the markets are smaller and more opaque and it's harder to predict where the pricing goes. But I think putting even the economics of antimony aside, there's an actual strategic advantage to having antimony because, again, having a critical mineral in your resource puts it at the forefront of the government's lens. And you now really have good relations with the government of wanting to be on that critical minerals discussion. We've had Trump going to see Albanese in Australia doing these big Australian US critical mineral deals. And New Zealand just on the side is not getting any attention. So the more we can push the critical minerals front for New Zealand, the better place the politicians are to have better discussions with the US in terms of trade and things like that. The other side is it's an amazing financing opportunity. We are gold explorers, we're gold focused, and we're not going to switch our hats to critical minerals. But the financing opportunities of having a really valuable byproduct means offtakes without diluting upside from the gold price in the future. So we'll be looking to see how do you monetize the antimony ahead of time to help finance the gold expansion.
Yeah, with those offtakes comment, you stole it right from my head. As soon as you said it, I thought, wow, this is really brilliant. What a great strategy. So Robert, really appreciate your time. Also, the fact that you are so committed to the environmental sustainability piece, that is so critical and so important. So thank you for the work you're doing there. And I'm sure our audience loves to hear that as well. And that is all the time we have here on Stocks to Watch as we're spotlighting Rua Gold. CEO Robert Eckford, thank you so much for joining us. Again, trading under the TSXV is RUA, over the counter in the United States is NZAUF, and in Germany, A40QYC. Obviously, advancing exploration at Reefton, new targets coming online at Glamorgan, and a catalyst-rich 2026 ahead. This is a story investors certainly you'll want to keep firmly on your radar. Robert, thanks again for joining us.
Thanks very much, Ashley.